Well, good morning and welcome back to another Morning Jumpstart. We are currently in a series called Planted for Purpose. So if you've missed any of the videos that I've dropped, make sure that you go back and watch so that you can follow along this process with us. But in today's video, I want to talk more about self-sabotage, but more specifically busy work, because I believe that it's really important to highlight this, with it being something that is just consistent and persistent in the way that it shows up. So we're going to talk more about that today coming up next, so stay tuned. Okay, so busy work. I think we can all agree that in our society, it just seems to be the normal thing, for even praiseworthy, for you to be busy, for us to be busy all the time. And if you think about it, like, okay, imagine you're meeting up with an old friend or you're talking to somebody you haven't talked to in a while and they ask what you're up to. How many of us can honestly say that we have said we've just been really busy? Man, life has just been so busy. Let me raise my hand first. I definitely have been there. And busyness, I've noticed it's kind of a mindless thing because, again, it's just a societal norm. So being busy, just something that you do, or, it's just habitual. So it's just part of life, it seems like sometimes. And you might even notice that you've been that type of person that they would call like the yes man or the yes woman, right? Where you're just always saying yes to everyone and everything. So when you're getting invites and you're asking for volunteer work and all of these things, and you're just so used to saying yes and having the hardest time saying no and prioritizing on the things that are actually important in life, you might find yourself there. So really at its core, or at the root of it all, is avoidance. We're avoiding something that needs to get done, or we're avoiding someone who needs our attention, a relationship, a friendship, our prayer life, things like that, right? There's an avoidance that's happening. And I've noticed that it really shows up when you know that you need to be doing something, right? There's something that is on your mind, on your heart, something that has been really nagging you. It's just like that thing that you're supposed to be doing, but you don't feel like doing it. And you have so many other things that might be on your mind that it's just easier to instead find yourself in a place of procrastinating and finding yourself busy with other things that really have nothing to do with what you need to be doing, right? So what busy work basically does is it occupies your time with something that's really easy, or it's something that's familiar, something you've done 100,000 times, or you're just used to doing. And it's a way really of numbing out. It's like a coping mechanism in a way. It's a comfort thing. So it still feels like you're accomplishing something because, well, you're busy. You're not just sitting around. You actually are doing things. But the problem is that you're not focusing on the right thing. Now, I kind of briefly touched on this in the last video as I talked about, sitting down to write a chapter in your book. And instead of doing that, you find yourself going out for a walk for fresh air. That's just an example of maybe finding yourself busy with something else. So you get that feel-good sensation because basically what you have done is you have done something. I don't know how else to say it. Like, okay, I did something. I did something here. I didn't just like do nothing. I actually went for a walk. That's a good thing, right? And the next level really isn't going to come that easy, right? Because again, that's a comfortable, that's a familiar thing. So you've got to figure out a way that you can push yourself. It really takes a special person to push through. And I really want to invite you to be that special person. Because I believe that you can be. We all have the capability of pushing past that discomfort and moving towards the goal, moving towards the thing that you're setting out to do in this next season of your life, that next level that is calling your name. So be that special person. God has so much more for you than you can even think or imagine, as I've said before. The thing is, you've got to be the one to take the first step. You have to be the one who says yes to the right things. It's a faith thing. Sometimes it doesn't look like it or feel like it. And that a lot of times is one of the things that keeps us busy in other areas, because it feels like we're accomplishing things. When this other thing is, it feels like it's not moving as quickly, right? But the moment that you begin to feel comfortable, that's when you know that you're at the end of the growth in that specific area. There's no more growing there. So you have to get growing or get going and move on that new thing, and move with that thing that is on your heart to do. That place of purpose is calling your name, and it's really time for you to take the next step. It's scary. Don't get me wrong. Again, because this is a place of discomfort. But you have to go against some old limitations, some old mindsets. And there's even maybe limitations that you've placed on yourself, or limitations that you've placed on God, that have been keeping you in this place, feeling stuck, feeling uninspired by what's surrounding you. Same old, same old. There's something new and something fresh that is on the horizon for you. And the thing is, we have to get outside of the busyness of the unimportant things and set our faces like flint and move in the direction that God is leading and moving you into. He's inviting you to come into a deeper place in your life, a deeper understanding, a deeper realization of who he is, a deeper relationship with him, to know who he is, what he wants to do in your life. And that's really going to cause you to need to put on the mind of Christ. And this goes back to that reset, being able to press that reset button and make a different choice. You have the capability. And what's so cool about research these days is that there is scientific proof that our brains can change. It's called neuroplasticity. And God knew that. And that's why it's been in the scriptures for so many, many, many centuries, telling us to reprogram our mind, to renew our thoughts, to put on the mind of Christ. Why does it say that? Because God knows the way he created you, and he knows that you have the capability of making that different choice, that better choice. So come out of that old place, come out of that staleness that you're finding is surrounding you right now. There's a reason it feels that way. And it's because You need to be taking different actions to get a different result in your life. Doing the same old thing is not going to get you to a new place. It's just going to give you a repeat of the same old season. So it's time to do something that you wouldn't normally do. It's time to go somewhere that you wouldn't normally go. You've got to make some changes in your life if you want to see the growth that you're going for, if you want to see things really produce with your life. You know, this season just amazes me because if you think about going and just cutting some things back and making room for new growth, it's amazing. It's amazing to watch. You know, when you look at something, you're like, well, if I cut all this away, what am I going to be left with? I'm not going to be left with much. But in this season, in the spring season that we are in currently as I'm recording this is when things are just coming to full life. So as you do that cutting away and you start taking these things out of your life that are causing you to be too busy for the good things, for the right things, for the right actions. So cutting those things away, you're going to notice the growth happening in the exact areas that you have pruned for it to happen in. Right? Isn't that awesome? Which brings me really to this point, and that is that I want you to make room for the thing that you have set out to do. For that thing that you're expecting, for that thing that you're working towards right now, make room for it. So if we think about making room for the new thing, you have to be willing again to get rid of the old things. So imagine with me for a moment that you have gone into your closet and it's spring cleaning. You're going to clean out some things and you're going to make room for some new stuff that's going to come into your life. You're going to have to go through some stuff in order to get rid of it. And that could be, if we're thinking about it in a practical way here, old patterns. What have you been repeating in your life that is not getting you anywhere? What about mindsets? What are some things that you find yourself thinking that really aren't helping you get in that new place? What about beliefs? What about deep-rooted belief systems that you have believed about yourself, that you've believed about other people? Negative things that aren't producing good life-giving fruit in your life? Maybe you found yourself in a place where you have gone away from God, where you have been looking in different areas for that success that you've so desperately wanted. I've been there. God brought me back. I tasted the fruits of other things. And I realized that what I was tasting and what I was seeing from God was the real thing. It was the sweet thing. The other stuff just left me so bitter and hungry and thirsty and empty. But when I came back, I realized that that was what I needed. So if you find yourself in a place where you've gone away from that, I just want to invite you that today is a new day. You can always make the choice to come back and just start over. God promises that when we repent and we turn, He will no longer remember. Your sins are as far as the east is from the west. They never touch. So those things will be completely forgotten and you will be able to start new with a new seed, with a new beginning. So fully surrender this space and this place in your life. Actually physically make room for it. Does that mean you need to make some shifts in your schedule so that you can actually take time to practice that thing? right? Practice makes perfect. As a musician, I know that I had to do a lot of practice before getting on stage, before the production, before the theatrics, before showtime, before curtain call. There's a lot of practice that has to go into it, but guess what? You have to make space for that practice. So whatever it is that you are expecting out of this, it's possible, but I just want to invite you to look at how you can make room in your life for receiving that thing. So when it comes, you're fully prepared. You've already made space for it, right? So that's really what I had for you today. I want to help you to really progress in this area of self-sabotage and get over the things that might be hindering you and keeping you from the successes that you deserve, the successes that God has for you. So, one thing I want to leave you with today is something to help you get moving. I'll say that. Get moving in this direction and start taking right action. Hopefully, you've already set your goal and your expectations and your vision for all of this, and you've started progressing towards it, you've started moving towards it. But if you do find yourself having a hard time, I just wanted to bring this idea to you, and it's just a way of identifying an energy sap that is keeping you from progressing in that area, keeping you from making the right moves, and identifying that thing. And I'd like this to be something that you could do in like 20 minutes or less, right? So you're going to identify an energy zap. This is something that you walk past, or something that is just like, it annoys you, right? You know that you're supposed to be doing this and you're like, man, okay. Like I said, writing lyrics to a song, okay? You have to do this thing you know that God is leading you to do, and you haven't been doing it yet. It's zapping your energy because guess what? Hello, you're supposed to be doing this. So another example could be, okay, I really have set out to do some healthy eating. What can you actually practically do to make room for that thing? Well, guess what I can do? I can create a meal plan. I can sit down for 20 minutes and I can create a meal plan for my week that's going to help me to get to that next place, because guess what? My health is very important to God. And in order for me to move forward in my purposes, I've got to get this place under control. Or, again, like writing a book, make space in your schedule, like actually schedule 20 minutes, 30 minutes just to free write, just to get things out and put it on paper. So I really want you to practically put this into play today. Sit down and think about how you can use 20 minutes to practically work towards that thing that you are setting out to do in all of this. That's the assignment that I want to leave you with today. And so that's what I have for you. I hope that this was really challenging. I know that it has been for me in my individual life, but also that it has encouraged you and helped you and just wanting to move forward and wanting to have the thing that you set out to have by the end of this. So if this has helped you, I want to invite you now just to like the video. If you're watching on YouTube, make sure that you subscribe to the channel and hit that bell notification. So as I'm dropping these new videos, you're able to come in and watch and get inspiration on this Planted for Purpose. But that's what I had for you today, and I will chat again with you in the next video. See you soon.